Thank you so much for joining us for our Wednesday Connect program. If you're new to the program, this is a series that we've started. It's a great way for people to connect, socialize, and of course, learn a little something new and have something to take away with them. So we're very excited to have Kim Sutliff today with us. She's going to be talking to us about a really wonderful app that is, sorry, I'm admitting people at the same time. This is a great app that I have really found useful. I really want to, I want all of you to learn more about it. So thank you all for joining again. If you're unfamiliar with the community center, please feel free to visit our website. It's ljcommunitycenter.org. We have daily programs from art classes and meditation, yoga, all are free classes. Some do have an additional fee, but most of the weekly classes and offerings that we have, like balance and strength and flexibility, those are all free classes and everyone can access those. So please feel free to visit our website and learn more. So before we get started and I let Kim take it away, I'll tell you a little bit about her. Kim is born and raised in Illinois, but she moved to California at a very early age. She attended college here and got married. She is currently the executive assistant for the chairman of the board at a manufacturing company. And some years ago, her parents started experiencing a decline in health. She was keeping all of their information, doctor's notes, prescriptions, appointments, etc., in several notebooks, then later translated them to binders. As the information grew, so did her preoccupation to keep it up to date. During the last 6 years of keeping up with all of this information, she came up with the idea that saving their information on her mobile device would have made things so much more manageable. Luckily, she found a friend who has helped her translate this concept into this app. So please help me welcome Kim Sutliff.
Where to start? That covers quite a bit of it. What I did in the beginning with my parents was use one of the books that you can buy, small journals, made it easy to carry. As long as I was at work, it was a piece of cake. Whenever I went anywhere, weekend or out of town, it was much more difficult. So always after the fact, hindsight's 2020, we started kicking around an idea for the app, and some friends have started to use it. They like the concept, and we launched in December, and hopefully you'll find something in it that you can use or family members. It was geared toward elder in the beginning, but as the more we worked with it, the more we found entire families can use it, from taking care of and keeping things for your children up to yourself and your parents. So with that, we can start with walking through each of the screens and give you the in-depth of what information you can keep hold of. It's a mobile app that you can put on phone or tablet. It's not designed for a PC, but that's not mobile either. So it's not password protected. We hope that all your phones are password protected. It's not meant to store information such as bank accounts or things like that, but anything else you can put in there. You can also put things in a little code if you want. It's a one-time fee of $5.99. There's no ongoing fees. We do not collect any of your information when you purchase the app, and anything you put into the app stays on your phone only. You are able to back it up to a Dropbox account that you can have on your phone. When you open it up, you have a main page. You may want to increase the size. The icons are small, depending on the size of your screen.
There you go.
All right. Well, yes, it is called Helping Care. So now hopefully now we're all up to, I won't repeat what we went through. When you open the main page, the icons show up. These are the mainstream icons, everyday stuff, and that. To start using the app, you start with loved ones. Things are tied to that, connected, and you need to have a name in there. You don't have to have a lot of information. All you need is a name, and when you save that, you can go forward. If you don't have any of this other information at your fingertips at the moment, you can add it in as you go. Once you add your loved one, this is what shows up. You type this stuff in. When you go back to the screen for loved ones, you click back once, it lists out the various people and it displays allergies. That's the only thing that comes out of that screen that displays at a glance, in case those things are needed to know on a quick basis. Going back to the main screen and going into appointments, it does not connect to your calendar on your phone, but it will give you at a glance in day and date. So you put the purpose of it, and it can be anything. It doesn't have to be medical. It could be a hair appointment. You set the time and any type of note you might need. It does need a loved one. Doctor is not needed at this because it may not be that type of thing. Going back, the next icon over is our to-do list. It's a reminder that it's designed to be short-term. You can certainly leave things in there long-term if you wanted, but it's kind of designed to put something on the run and then you can delete as you complete them. If you need the reminder every week to mow the lawn, then instead of Saturday, you can certainly put in every week. Anything that helps you keep it in the forefront. Under caregivers, at one point I had, there were caregivers for both of my parents at separate times, but they had separate people, companies and that. So this gives you a glance of being able to put the name of your caregiver, what days they're there and their time, and their phone number at a glance. Now you are able to phone from the app. You would tap this person's name, bring you to this screen. You tap this number, their phone number, and it will open up your phone, the app on your phone to call, and you can call right from there. Same as said if you have an email for them. You come into their details screen and tap the email, that will open up your email program and you can send an email right from there. Here, I do believe a loved one is needed, but let's say a drop-down menu appears and you can choose that loved one and it punches it in. Excuse me. Professional contacts. These are not the everyday people. For me, for my parents, it was the notary we used, the contact at the bank, but again, with no account number, their tax person and that, and the lawyer, anything like that, that you kind of need to know on the run and make it yourself handy. In using the book that I did, my parents had a large stack of business cards, thankfully, but pasting them in the book got to be very bulky. So then I started Xeroxing them and just taping in the thinner piece of paper, but that got bulky. I wasn't able to leave enough space as I put in doctors, so that you had to thumb through a lot of things. I gave myself a cheat sheet in the front of the book, but that was only name and phone and without a lot of other information. So this puts everything right with a couple of taps and you're looking at it. The house stuff, it's an odd name, but most everybody just kind of refers to all that stuff that deals with the house. Your gardener, your alarm, your housekeeper, a landlord, pet sitter. This displays in alphabetical order by the service they provide. Because if you're dealing with a parent, I didn't know my parents' gardener's name and the house cleaner's name, but I can find house cleaner faster than trying to remember a name. And again, once you tap that person's name, it opens up, you tap that phone number, and you have all the information in here that you may want to put in that you may need. You may not have or need everybody's address and email, but it's there if you do. We added schools to help expand it for families. If you're taking care of grandkids, your own kids, you're close with a friend's child and you might be on the list to deal with their school, this has everything in there. You do have to have a loved one. Once you've put them in that first category, when you tap select loved one, it brings a drop-down menu. You just choose one and hit OK. It gives you the attendance clerk, the nurse's name, teacher's name, room number, their email, school time. Maybe they take a bus, so it gives you a bus number, all of that we could remember from our school days. And then it divides them out by the child. And that. Transportation, kind of an overflow, but here you'd put in maybe that bus company's information. I included it because with my parents, we used the non-emergency caravan when mom had to be transported a couple of times, and that gave me their direct without having to look them up. Could be a carpool that the kids use, or someone that always gives, mom a lift to the grocery store, and you want to put them in there. And again, it breaks it down by the person if you want it to. Under daycare, many families, they have parents that go to something during the day. Otherwise, you can use it for kids. Gives all type of same thing, contact names, their cell numbers. Nowadays, you may not be calling the facility or the main line all the time. You may want to get right to the contact name, and that so many people use their own cells for this now. So that's what we have there, and that helps at least know where you can find them any time of the day. Memberships, a friend of mine translated this a little differently than what I did. I looked at it based on my dad belonged to a health club. He belonged to he had a moose lodge and things like that. So that's what, maybe the kids have Boy Scouts. That's how I viewed membership. My one friend viewed that as she put her Costco stuff in here. Any way you translate it and you can know how to find it again, you can make it work for you. And that. The pets and vets, they are a part of our family, and trying to keep things just in the professionals or just in the house stuff. We have a cat on thyroid meds, so expanding it made a lot more sense. Keep their veterinarian information, the meds that they might be on, and that kind of self-explanatory. And under pets, you don't necessarily have to have a loved one. It could be joint. It'll show up like this if you don't choose. In this case, my dad had a horse, so that was his. You can assign it or not on this one. The family and friends, this kind of helps you not have to put, if you're especially with caring for a parent, maybe putting their friends in your contact list can be confusing. So my mom always had one of our cousins that always wanted to know when she was out of surgery or something. So you can divide it by loved one in there and get information to them quickly via email or phone. And it just kind of keeps them separate and out of keeping your personal contact list overflowing. I ended up putting my parents' doctors' names in my contact, the hospitals in their area in there. And I was 75 miles from them, but it made it easier. This would have kept it in a separate area and a little less confusing. In notes, it's also kind of as a temporary, I envision it if when I'd be leaving a doctor's appointment with one of them, I could tap on it, take some notes. Or if you're comfortable using the microphone on your phone, you can just tap that and dictate to it. And it's not a defined field, so you can go on for quite a bit, and then you can transfer this maybe to an actual physical folder you may keep medical information in. That kind of stuff isn't kept in here. That you do end up needing paper, I found. But that too, you could have them in here for a while and just have it listed down until you're able to do something else with them. The year overview, I forget where I stole this from, but I use it for my boss at work, and it gives a look. I use his on paper for he and his wife, that throughout the year, when they have to do things. And this stuff, you kind of learn on the go, when the insurance was due, when tags were due, and things like that. But at least if you're busy with parents or children, or even, now, especially with COVID after effects, our own health, this is a quick glance reminder of what's coming up and what you need to prepare for and have in the ready. The settings in the backup, you can condense some lists. The doctor's list I'll show you, and that I have my mom in there, my dad in there, and if it gets lengthy, you can have it always be expanded or always be condensed, depending. You can back this up to Dropbox. We do have instructions for that. So, and that is a backup that is kept on your phone. It can be shared with someone else who has the app, but it's only at your discretion. It's not, they just can't tap into your Dropbox account and take it. And then, oops, I'll carry it away there. But that's the main page. The excuse me. Second side of this is, bring this up without, excuse me. So on the main screen, as you go in, you see the health. We went through all of these, and any questions we'll take at the end, and I can certainly expand if I gleaned over anything too quickly. But if you tap under health, then that brings you in. You still add, obviously we start with your loved ones and that, but then you get into the main page here, health. Keep your doctors, your medications, hospitals, your visiting nurses. Come on now. Pharmacies, insurance, and that's basic insurance information, as I'll show you. Therapists. So we add a doctor. You tap the screen up, this little button up on top. Put your doctor's name in. You do need a doctor's name. You need the doctor's specialty, and you need a loved one to add. You can go back and fill all the stuff in later on if you like, as you go, whatever you have at your fingertips. It's a great time when you sit in the waiting room of the doctor's office, grab their business card, type in everything you see, and you can add things later. This is what you'll see when you have a few in there. Here it displays with my mom and my dad. If you're only dealing with one at the time and the screen is too busy, you can tap the second one's name and that will hide itself and you'll only see one. You do it to the other one, you'll only see that one. So that helps a little bit, especially if that scrolls off the other page. If they're both very full lists, then you can help condense your view. From the doctor's page, you can go and add a medication. You don't have to back out. You put in your medication name, what it's generic for. In here, you need a medication and a condition, especially. And then you don't have to set a start date if you don't want to. It's not required, but a loved one, a doctor, and a pharmacy is. And from here, you can also add that pharmacy and just need a name in there, and then take yourself back to this. And now you have a drop down, you choose that pharmacy, hit save, and that drug then will display down here under that doctor's name, under that patient's name. This is you can go in from just the medication screen, just hit add, and from there also add a pharmacy and come back. But again, you need to have the loved one's name, excuse me, in there first. Everything ties to that. Your medication list, the condensing helps a great deal. The last time I went into the emergency room with my mom, and that the doctor there was asking, I knew her surgeries, I had those committed to memory, what they were and the approximate times, but the meds list, we were always at a loss. We could never get a coherent list from her doctor of what was current. So with this, you'd have all of that, even a stop date if she was no longer taking it. And in this case, when you see the meds, it tells you the strength, the doctor, and the condition, and how often it's taken. And those usually end up tending to be basic questions that you're asked. Under hospitals, it's handy that if you set these up with or without excuse me, a reference name, it can stay convenient for you. Since depending on people and conditions, the hospitals usually require a code word now that offers up. If you're not comfortable, since it's not protected by putting the code word in there, maybe put a hint in there. My dad always chose his horse's name. You could put horse in there. And that anything that would click a memory in you. Otherwise, if it's not a big issue, then you can certainly put the code name in. But Each visit, your charge nurse will change. A different admitting doctor will change. You can put in their primary doctor if you want, if they see them at that hospital. The HIPAA date that you sign so that they'll talk with you about the loved one. Room number, they say once the visit is over, you can leave this and just change it later if need be. My parents utilized 2 different hospitals. It was easiest leave. It would have been easier to leave it in and then just change the room number as you went. And then, going back, visiting nurses. These are usually assigned by doctors, and that my uncle is undergoing, or he has a few visiting nurses come for different things. So doctors, you know which doctor is assigning which, their names, the days they come, the times usually stay the same. And again, they usually will give you a cell phone now, so you can tap into this and get a hold of them if something changes or you won't be home in time or anything like that. Oops, there you go. Pharmacies, you can add more in here if you need to. If it's a local one, you just need the name in that. I dealt with a couple of drugs for my dad that were from out of state, and one had to be shipped local, so I had to know the store number and everything. And once you enter medications, they will show up under that particular pharmacy. They will tell you the patient's name, your loved one's name, and what drugs that pharmacy is filling. And so that's kind of handy. Whereas my dad, as I say, he used a local one and then 2 specialties that were in 2 different states. So that gave me the ability to have their hours and phone number. Didn't need their address, but it's there if you needed it. Going back with insurance, just the type of insurance. If you, that's awesome. Well, look at there. I have the wrong screens on here, unfortunately. I don't know how that happened. Insurance, there's one spot if you try to put an account number in, it will tell you it's not password protected. It will not take an insurance account number. That's not something you want. If you're dealing with the insurance company, I always found you're probably going to have a piece of paper in front of you in a reference folder for me. Under the therapists, my mom had visited some. My uncle right now has some coming to the house. So that gives you a breakdown of whether it's occupational, physical therapist, a variety of them certainly. And it gives you that chance to know what days they're coming, what time, in case you need to schedule other things, get a hold of them if you can't hold that appointment, and all the background information for their offices and managers and stuff are here. And again, and the website, if you need that for any reason, or the email, all can be put in here. Let's see. Facilities, rehab centers, skilled nursing, short-term, different ones. I know where the insurance went. Something happened when I did some editing. I apologize for that. This gives you a look of what the drop-down menus look like in this case. Once you have your loved ones put in here, when you get to the loved one selection, you just grab the one you need, highlight that one, hit OK. And here's the insurance part that I told you about. I apologize for that. I'm not sure what happened. Hospice. Certainly not the most pleasant topic, but people can be on it for a long time, and you need to be able to contact them quickly and easily, and this gives you that ability. What doctor has assigned them to it, that has the manager's name and all these things, that the LVNs that come and actually do the hands-on and help the family so much. And this gives you everything at a glance. And if you've got them, they're assigned differently. As I said, I learned under different doctors, but you have a breakdown if you have misfortune of having them both on hospice, but in this case. But that takes you through those, except for that little glitch I apologize for. So I guess we're open with questions.
Okay, thanks, Kim.
Mhm.
Does anyone have any questions for Kim? You're welcome to unmute yourself and direct them to her.
I think Wendy had a question about the security on the app.
Yeah, yeah, I had a question about the security. You mentioned that it's not protected in what way?
Once you're on your phone, to open the app, it doesn't ask for a code or a fingerprint. That's why we strongly suggest that your phone is password protected by a password or a fingerprint to get into it.
So the information, there's some information that should not be put on here just to be extra careful. Is that right? Like any, it's like social security numbers or.
Right. There's no place on there that even asks for a social security number.
Okay, so any private information probably should not be put on there, even, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Kim?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, you can hear me. First of all, I think it's a great app.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think it'll be really helpful. Can I use this for more than one family member? Like,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Parent,
Yeah,
or-
I had, my parents in there. I had, for when we were testing, I put in, 2 kids and things like that. It's, even if you're, like for us, even helping with a friend, when we travel, my girlfriend takes care of our house and our cats. So if she were to put me on her app and my contacts of family, if anything happens to the house, she would know who to contact if I couldn't get home quickly. If you're helping a good friend, you care for their bird when they go away, you can put them in there and it can all be attached to their name.
Great. And this is definitely better than the portals that Scripps or UCSD has. It's so much more complete, that yeah.
I'm sure, I have a friend that kind of told me that she, with her family, they deal with Kaiser and they do everything through email and whatnot. And that's certainly all pertained within that. This is not just your doctors and it's not tied to just that one doctor. It's designed, really, especially on the go, if, nobody plans a trip into the emergency room with that booklet under their arm and this gives you all that kind of stuff. They have it, they're ready. And, you certainly don't have to use, I can see a family using every one of the icons. I can see people just using the medical side, and what pertains to them and it's still helpful, we believe.
It sounds as though we should all start one on ourselves,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doctor asks you what medicine you take, I don't know, it's green and it's about this big. I don't know.
Kim, there's a question. Is there an option to sync data with other devices?
No.
Not currently.
Wait.
Maybe.
Through Dropbox.
Well, the option is that because of we try to keep it secure in a sense that you don't accidentally synchronize with someone you don't want. All the data is backed up into your personal Dropbox. And if someone having the app wants to retrieve the same data you have, you can retrieve it with the same Dropbox initials or security options that you have, but it has to go into your Dropbox. So that's kind of a pseudo synchronization, if you will.
If you've got, a sibling and you're caring for a parent, let's say, and you've got, two siblings wanting to share one's distance or whatever, one can fill out all the information, save it to their Dropbox. The other one would need the app also, and then with the first one's permission, they could retrieve all that and it would fill that app. But there you have to be careful as to who makes changes right now. You might want to just have one person make changes and then back it up and the other one could retrieve again. But it's kind of like, if one goes through the house and moves this and the other one moves it, you can get things jumbled easily. And that's where we are at this point. And we could, stumble across another way to make that a little easier, a little better. But at this stage of the game, one needs to be in charge of the information and can let the other one know, hey, you need to update. Why don't you download from me again?
Great. Another question, Kim, is there a limit to not users, but for example, I want both parents and my little brother, and for some reason I'm a lot of people's emergency contact, and so to have other profiles, is there a limit to that?
I don't think there really is. We tested for 4. Jorge?
No, there's a limit. Basically, the only thing that it will, Apple has an option to do a family, which I don't know exactly how it works, where you share the same app, but in the sense of having multiple and unlimited number of data in this, it's just basically the phone storage will be your limit, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, great. You care for yourself, care for the family of 6, care for 10 people, run them up.
Yep.
Great. Any questions, additional questions for Kim?
Is there a way that we can, I was just looking at the app here on my phone, and of course it has the basics, but it doesn't have all the slides and things that you showed us, Kim. Is there a way that we participants can get a copy of your lecture?
You can go to the website.
Yeah.
If you go in under the settings on the app and tap the button for our website of bodieroad.com.
Okay, it shows everything.
There, it gives an explanation, it gives example screens, and then as you go down, there are instruction sheets available by the main screen, the health screen, and the backup. Each one of those icons has an instruction sheet available for download or printing.
Oh, great. Great. Okay, thanks.
Great. Yeah, and Deb went ahead and added the website on the chat. So it's Bodie Road, BODERODE.com. Great.
Can you say it again?
Sure. BODERODE.com. And it's on the chat box as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Great.
And also, if you go into the settings, in the upper right-hand corner of the app, the little wheel, that's what brings down the Dropbox instructions. There's also a spot there to go to the website or to send us an email.
So Kim, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing this awesome app. I'm excited to start using it, and it's going to make things a lot easier. So through your trials and tribulations, we have gained. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you. Hopefully it makes things easier.
Is it the App Store, Kim? Is that how?
Yeah.
The website will take you right to the either Apple or Google to purchase it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have the unpopular Android, and yes, it was very easy to find through the Play Store. So
I believe in Android also. So
alrighty. Any additional questions before we say goodbye, everyone?
I should say too, if people work with a tablet, sometimes especially under the share, and I think Android mentions about it being able to share too. If you work with a tablet, sometimes it's easier to type everything in, save to your Dropbox, and then plop it onto your phone.
Great.
That's how I did it. It saves your little thumb joints.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Kim.
Thank
Great
you.
tool. And thank you for participating. Thank you all. Hope you have a wonderful day and hope to see you back soon. Take care.